is rising very quickly, and that has implications for social cohesion or national security. But it's also influencing fashion. Macy's has announced a new line of fashionable Islamic garb, modest Islamic garb, targeted at Muslims, that is the latest retailer to join that trend. Both Nike and American Eagle already have lines like that. What does it mean? Sonia Osorio is president of the National Organization for Women in New York City, and she joins us tonight. Sonia, thanks for coming on.
I'm happy to be here.
So this announcement was cheered by feminists, and it got me thinking, do you think that Islam is a feminist religion?
Well, what I think is that religion in every form throughout history has oppressed women in many ways, and Islam isn't any different. I think what's striking to me about this new line of Macy's is that Muslim women in the United States have $44 billion in buying power. That's
right.
pretty spectacular.
No, that's great. I mean, I'm all for buying power, though. But I want to get back to the clothing and its implications. I mean, the point of Islamic clothing is to promote modesty among women for a bunch of different reasons. It's in the Quran. It's of course a central part of Islamic culture. So, are you for that? Do you think women should be coerced to dress modestly? Is that a feminist goal?
I think what a feminist goal is for women to be in control of their lives and their destinies and to have choices. So whether a woman wants to wear a hijab or she doesn't is really not the point. I think what's really interesting, what we've been seeing is here.
Wait. What do you mean? I'm confused. It's not the point. So if I say, as Islamic countries do, you don't have a choice. You have to wear the hijab because you need to be. You need to be modest, and if you're not, you could get raped, and if you do, it's your fault. And you have to avert your gaze from men and not touch non-relatives who are men. Is that okay with you?
I was referring to the United States. But you know what's really interesting? If you take a look at what's happening, here you have in the United States women who had never donned a hijab in their entire life and marched over to JFK Airport at the time of the Trump travel ban and started wearing a hijab because as a symbol of resistance in protest to that. And at the same time, so they're wearing them as a symbol of empowerment. And at the same time, you have right now in Iran, you have women who are bravely getting up on platforms and ripping off their hijabs because it's compulsory there, because it's compulsory there, and they're risking their lives and they're being arrested.
Right. No, and I would agree with you. I'm on their side completely. Yeah. But would you be, if Macy's sold a new line of Chinese foot binding shoes, would those be empowering too?
I think it's a little bit different because that actually would damage your feet. You'd have to probably go to.
Well, I don't know. I mean, all cosmetic procedures damage the. All cosmetic procedures damage the body, all of them. Well, so that's not really an answer. Would you be? But if women said, I find that empowering, just as I find it empowering to wear clothing that millions of Muslim women are forced to wear because they're women in order to be modest, that's somehow empowering. So I'm wondering, is there anything that's not empowering?
It's not that simple. It's not black and white. For some women, it is indeed empowering. And for others, it is not. And it really is a matter of perspective as to where you are. Let's talk about you.
What about female genital mutilation? Is that,
let's talk about American men. They're in the subway on August days. I feel so bad for American men with their suits and their ties when it's humid and 98
but
degrees.
Probably for other reasons. But may I ask you a question?
For the same reason.
So
you're letting society tell you how you should dress.
I just can't get past this idea, and I'm trying to be open-minded because I'm an open-minded man, a modern man. But the idea that a garment that a religion has forced women to wear for more than 1,000 years because they're women, forcing them to be modest, is somehow empowering for women. Do you think that, for example, women are asked to walk behind their husbands, or in some countries are not allowed to drive or vote? Under certain circumstances, can that be empowering? Can female genital mutilation be empowering? That's common in Islamic countries.
I think those are quite extreme examples that you're trying to compare.
No, I don't know why. They're all features of the same religion, and they're all gender specific. So I don't know. I mean, I think they're extreme too. I agree with you, but I think the hijab is extreme. But you don't for some reason, and I don't know why.
You know, as I said, there are women who do find it empowering, but most importantly, it's really not the top issue. I don't go to work every day and think about what wardrobes women are wearing and what it represents, because I know enough women.
Oh, really? Because I thought that was a huge part of women's liberation.
No, I'll tell you what's a big part of women's liberation is making sure that the Trump administration does not roll back our rights to full reproductive health care.
Abortion, right.
I go to work every day to think about how to close the wage gap.
I'm starting to think maybe you care more about identity politics than women. I'm just throwing that out there. I mean, if you're endorsing the hijab, maybe it's not really about women. Has that occurred to you?
I'm not endorsing. The only thing that I'm endorsing here today with you and with all of your viewers is that discrimination is alive and well for women in this country.
In the form of the hijab, for example, just to name one.
No, it's alive and well, more importantly,
this is so lunatic,
in the workplace. In the workplace. What we need to do is end sexual harassment in the workplace.
And the hijab, too. I'd throw that in.
Close the wage gap. And if those women can do that while wearing a hijab, more power to them. And I will be there with them fighting for it.
Or FGM, whatever it takes. Sonia, thank you so much. Great to see you.
Thank you so much. It's been fun.